You guys, it's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing. I'm representing Team King of Games, of course, and today I'm going to go over an update of my Pimp Magicians because I've been feeling the deck low-key just a little bit. You know, it's been doing some damage, and I like the combos. I tried to make my build as spicy as possible without taking away from, what it actually does. Meaning I didn't want to cut the best cards, the standard 3-ofs, even though I don't like standard. There are certain cards you have to play, but nonetheless, there are some card choices that I made that some people might not agree with, but nonetheless, they are befitting and suiting to my playstyle. In addition to that, it's just the way I want to play my deck. I definitely would say once you see some of the card choices, if you don't like it, the best thing I can say is just, when you build your deck, you don't have to do that. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into this deck profile. Starting off with the standard, what you must have is 3 copies of Joker because he's a pimp. All the magicians are pimp, and you don't Pendulum summon, you pimp summon, because that's how you do it. So 3 copies of Joker, 3 copies of Wisdom Eye. Wisdom Eye is pretty good because you need low scales. It's what this deck has a shortage of, so whenever you see Wisdom Eye, basically you're seeing a low scale that you need. In addition to the combos it has with Star Pendulum Graph, and also with Astrograph Sorcerer, with I actually do play in my list. Most Pendulum Magician players are tending to stray away from Astrograph Sorcerer. I really don't understand because he's a great card, and in addition to that, he's a low scale that the deck needs, and yes, it is sometimes going to be relevant to play him in the scale. Then we have 3 Double Iris. Double Iris is just incredible. The funny thing is you don't really need 3, but I find the need to just play 3 of him because he's like the equivalent of any graph, and also his effect, his scale effect is actually pretty darn relevant when you're trying to go for huge damage pushes in battle phase. Him in combination with Black Fang and Purple Poison are just so much damage in one turn. It's crazy. So I love Double Iris. He's helped me to OTK like a beast. And then we play 3 copies of Harmonizing. Obviously, Harmonizing is pretty much she's technically, in my opinion, the best magician of all the new support that they got in Pendulum Evolution not too long ago. She's the best support that they could have gave the deck. Honestly, she's just such an amazing card. Whenever I play against this deck, I'm trying to save my Ash for her. I'd much rather Ogre one of their continuouses and just Ash her. Even if I see a Pendulum call, sometimes it's do I want to let that resolve, or do you want to Ash the Harmonizing? Because the Harmonizing is so deadly. If your opponent is able to resolve Harmonizing the correct way, they make double Omega, and your hand is really screwed up after that. Then we play 3 copies of Purple Poison. Purple Poison is not only the important low scale that you need, but he allows you to out so many different things. Just wow, this card is just retarded. It's not a quick effect, but it's still a Dryden. And in tandem with your Time Pendulum Graph, if you happen to have not resolved Pendulum Claw or don't have Time Star Magician on field, you can just pop and then pop, which is pretty cool. Then for the 2-ofs, we play 2 copies of Oath Dragon for the recursion. Adding from your extra deck to hand is very important because if you don't have a Link monster, you can only Pendulum summon for your extra deck 1 time. So in grind game scenarios where it's I just have 1 monster in hand and I need my Harmonizing Magician back, you use Oath Dragon and add Harmonizing back to your hand. Then you just Pendulum summon her and keep that card in your hand. Or vice versa, if you don't have a Harmonizing whatsoever and didn't get to see one, and you're I need to make a Baguska or something like that to sit on, you use Oath Dragon to add 1 from extra deck to hand, and then Pendulum summon that from hand and another card from extra deck when you're down to no cards in hand whatsoever. So he's a lifesaver. He definitely is. Then we're playing 2 copies of Astrograph. Astrograph is insane for the combos and just utility purposes in addition to that. He's kind of a hand trap in a way, and he's a blowout for your Wavering guys. It's not necessarily to plus. It's to load your extra deck and at the same time to search out all the cards you need, triggering your Double Iris effect off of Wavering Eyes to search for your Time Pendulum Graph, which you really need to just keep the tempo going, and then dropping him right at the end of your Wavering Eyes, it allows you to recover one of the cards you lost and just keep going with your combos. So I like him a lot. He's a really great card, and dropping him out of nowhere is how I'm able to make my Supreme King Zark, which I still choose to play because I think Zark is a great card. And then you have 2 copies of Black Fang. I feel Black Fang is just not a 3-of. It doesn't matter what people say or what reasoning people have for playing, 3 Black Fang. It's you have too many high scales already. Why would you play 3 Black Fang? It's recurable off of Oath Dragon. It's completely searchable. It's just something that, if you're playing into strikes, you need to Pendulum summon him so that you get to keep something at the end of it, even if it's not much. And then for the 1-ofs, 1 White Wing. for the double Omega plays and also to summon Zark. So White Wing has a lot of purposes. That's why you need a player. Funny thing, before double Omega was like a thing, Magician players felt like this wasn't a good card and they would cut it. And now she's like a standard, like one of in every single list. And then for my spicy one of extenders, we have one Luster. We have one Rescue Hamster. I'm telling you, man. These cards, before I continue, I'm going to have to explain these. Luster is pretty popular. He's actually at 2. I don't play 2 because not only is he highly searchable, but multiples in your opening hand can conflict with the cards, with this deck's engine. In addition to that, once you see 1, it's really all you need. So Luster either A, pops double Iris when you're going first to search out the cards you need, or B, pops your purple poison when you're going second, allowing you to pop cards and then play a second purple poison and then use its damage step effect to pop a second card, which is really cool. So he pretty much allows you to pop 2 cards with your purple poison when you're going second. And going first to card is just amazing because sometimes you really need to pop certain scales to either trigger Star Pendulum Graph, to trigger double Iris, to trigger your Black Fang and late to mid to late games. Luster's just incredible. He's just like a searcher. He's so good, and he extends your plays with your Astrograph as well. And also, he gives you a little bit more fodder for your Ignister. And Rescue Hamster, you pretty much like, you make a Baguska off of Rescue Hamster, like straight up and down. You just make a Baguska off of him. And also it helps you to link summon because you can just normal him, use his effect, like target double Iris, special summon 2 double Irises, target 1 Wisdom Eye, special 2 Wisdom Eyes, etc., etc. You play a lot of 3-ofs. You make a free rank 4 after that, or you can just use those 2 to instantly link summon. And then, you know, like Pendulum summon a couple and then link into Decode and just go on for your plays from there. And then, of course, you have the other extender, which is pretty standard. Pendulum Sorcerer. He's here to trigger your scale effects, like, for example, you know, double Iris, which is one of the best ones for first turn. In addition to that, he also just allows you to use your purple poison a bit more, basically a bit more versatile, because like I said, when you're going second, before you proceed to battle phase, sometimes there's a lot of cards you need to clear out first before you use the damage step effect of purple poison. So cards like Luster and also Pendulum Sorcerer help you to, you know, trigger multiple of your purple poisons, which helps you out a lot because purple poison just breaks boards. And funny thing, I'm playing Lizard Draw and Turtle. Right? They're bricks in hands, they're garnets. Right. Like, they're so incredible. Like, dude, when you resolve your Pendulum Sorcerer the correct way, you get to search off a Star Graph, you get to search off of double Iris, you get to, you know, like, do an effect from, like, Black Fang, for example, or you can just, like, pop purple poison, for example. Like, one time I actually, Pendulum Sorcerer I popped double Iris in scale, and the double Iris that I Pendulum summoned from my extra deck and searched both my graphs. And then did Lizard Draw after that. It was just so stupid. And if I didn't play different named targets, I would never be able to pop 2 with Sorcerer. Because if you play the standard, you can only search 1 time, which is going to be off of the Joker, so you can only pop 1. And I feel like these are great extenders, and at the same time, helping you to dig through your deck is really important because the deck doesn't really have draw power outside of Pot of Desires. Everything searches. So, like, if you play hand traps, for example, or real traps like Solemn Strike, that's your opportunity to actually dig into your deck for those. So, to me, they're extenders. You don't have to play them. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you disagree with my card choices, I mean, you can down talk me. You know, if you're salty, I'm not tripping. Or you can just take it like this. Everybody has a different play style, and if it doesn't suit you, just don't net deck me. For the spells, 3 copies of Duelist Alliance. Most players don't play 3 now. The standard's kind of coming to like 2 of this and 1 Pendulum Call, but I really like Duelist Alliance because it just searches like everything. It searches Star Pendulum Graph, Time Pendulum Graph, Double Iris, Luster, Pendulum Sorcerer. It's just such a freaking good card. And it also searches one of my spicy techs that you'll see once we get into it. So I have a lot of targets for this, which is why I played at 3. Then we have 3 copies of Wavering Eyes. I still feel like this is a really, really good card. It's just like, of course, there's a lot of mirror matches out there, but outside of the mirror match, the combos that this card has are just insane. This allows you to do some of your link combos. It's also one of the reasons why I'm able to summon first turn Tomahawk and go Tomahawk for the link summoning combo. So Wavering Eyes just does so much for the deck, and depending on what you pop, you can replenish the scale. So it's just like a free play. You don't take a -1, but at the same time, you don't get a +1. But same thing, you know, you're still cycling through your deck, and you get to make Tomahawk, which is really dope. And then we have 3 copies of Pendulum Call. I love this spell so much, I have dedicated 3 slots in my deck to it. I feel like in grind games, when your opponent blows you out with evenly matched, and clears your scales, this is a card that's like it's like a 1-card recovery play. Like, as long as you have another card in your hand, you can pretty much go Pendulum Call and replenish your scales that you lost. Because that's the unfortunate but sad true thing about the Pendulum Magician archetype, or just Pendulums in general, is that if your opponent takes your scales away from you, you can't do anything. So to me, this is not only a recovery play, but sometimes it's a combo piece, because I use it to search out Harmonizing if I still haven't seen Harmonizing. Like, when you open up with this as well, you don't have to waste Duelist Alliance on this. So you also have the opportunity to bait your opponent's Ash for Duelist Alliance, or vice versa. Like, there's a lot of ways to bait it, and at the same time, if they ash you, they ash you. It's just something you have to keep in mind, that Ash exists. It's a card that can be played. But I just have a lot of good reasons for playing 3 of this, and also because I like getting Time Pendulum Graph as soon as possible. When I resolve this, Time Pendulum Graph just becomes just a freaking bombshell, because it'll pop and then send another card to the graveyard, which is just draining and depleting your resources after I double Omega Jew. And then we have 2 copies of a Star Pendulum Graph. I still feel like it's a necessary 2 of, and not 3. You can break with it, and it's also searchable through like 6 other cards that are also searchable by other cards. Then 2 copies of Desires, and believe it or not, 1 amazing Pendulum. I have a similar theory and concept behind this card, as well as the Pendulum Call. They're pretty much like your backup scales. They're for recovery. And also, there's a cool combo with this and Wavering Eyes. Like, when you Wavering Eyes your scales, you get a bunch of searches, depending on if it was this, if it was like Double Iris, you know, if you did a combo with Black Fang and then Astrograph, and then you also get to search off of this as well. After that, your scales are empty, right? You can just play Amazing Pendulum at the 2 cards that you destroyed off of Wavering Eyes, and now you just like went +2, which is insane. So I like Amazing Pendulum. There are also like a lot of weird, awkward like games where in scenarios and situations where I'm like, dude, if I had a card like this, my Duelist Alliance would be just like a freaking, you know, blowout in the mirror match. Because in the mirror match, if your opponent has cards in their scale, you can play this for free and search a card like this and just recover. That's only in the mirror match, though. I'm not saying that you can do that, period. Just in the mirror match in general, in the Pendulum Magician mirror match, this plus Amazing Pendulum is just like an amazing comeback. It's like so suiting to its name. And for the traps, I actually played 3 copies of Time Pendulum Graph. Because I need to draw into this card. I need to open up with it, and I need to see it as much as possible. It's one of the main reasons for playing this deck. This plus Baguska plus Cypher and Little Mega, you can just win. And if you want to play even more competitive and just incorporate some like Ash Blossoms and Maxi, if you open up with like this, the Baguska Omega combo, and then Ash Blossom, you have like a card cleared from their hand. You have Baguska stopping them, and you have this graph. And then you have Ash Blossom and Joy Spring in your hand, plus whatever resources you already have access through, you know, Oath Dragon and in your scales, which is just freaking insane. That sums up the main deck. For the extra deck, we have 1 Zark. You drop it so often, believe it or not. I'll explain how you drop him like right now as soon as I finish the extra deck. Starving, because he's just like, wow. Even copying Spiral, Sleeper, and just clearing their cards, it's really funny. Ignister to get over cards that can be destroyed. Clearwing, just to pretty much Raigeki and just push for game. And then double Omega, because you just do the double Omega play. I sold my BLs, or I would be playing BLs because he's a great card. Double Time Star, because I actually like this card a lot, and I summon it pretty frequently. And depending on the matchup, because some decks you just have to go aggro on them. You have to do Omega and then Baguska. You just have no choice. But if you're not doing that, and you're trying to like go for utility plays and set up, Time Star's your guy. Like, even if you want to do the Witch of the Black Forest combo, like, you're going to need to play multiple Time Stars, because one of them will get wasted for the Witch of the Black Forest combo into Akashic Magician. And then once you lose him, and he's a great card. You need him. Like, also protecting your scales and, you know, your Pendulum Magician monsters themselves. Even with a Time Pendulum Graph, it's a great combo. Then you have Supreme Dark Rebellion, Tornado Dragon, Tomahawk. And then for the links, we have, you know, Firewall, Decode, and Proxy. It's easy to do the Firewall Proxy thing off of Tomahawk, which is just, like, so easy. Then you have Decode for the targeting protection, and also, you know, the 2 zones. And if you guys were wondering, like, what I was saying about dropping Zark, you pretty much can drop Zark second turn. So if you open up a Time Star, like, normally you have cards like these in either your Pendulum Zone or your extra deck. Like these, right? And then you pretty much get to do something like this. Like, with the Time Pendulum Graph, right? You're like, Time Pendulum Graph, try to pop something. Change Time Star's effect, send Black Fang the graveyard. And then on your turn, you know, during your standby, you're like, Time Star again, pop another card. Chain Time Star's effect. and then send White Wing, right? And what you do after that, pretty much just Pendulum summon Purple Poison and Double Iris, because you're always going to have them no matter what. You know, and don't forget that you have Astrograph. So, like, you do this, you search the Astrograph off of Time Star, because he searches any Dark Spellcaster, right? So, Time Star searched Astrograph in the first place when you made him. So, like, when you do the second time Pendulum Graph, when you're standby to dump the White Wing, because remember, the first time you dump Black Wing, the second time you dump White Wing, then you're going to activate Astrograph. And at that point, you're going to use his effect, and you can just add, you know, whatever was destroyed. For example, if you destroyed a Purple Poison or Double Iris in your scale, you can add them to hand. So like I said, you're always going to have it, and then you just proceed to banish all of them, drop your Zark, and just go off. And you can even link summon first. Like, you can link summon for your combos first and do, like, Decode Talker, and then go off and then make your Supreme King Zark, which is pretty freaking insane. I've done it without even Pendulum summoning, and it was just like they scooped, because I still hadn't Pendulum summoned, and I used Oath Dragon to add Harmonizing Magician back to hand. So yeah, it's just a card that's worth playing. That concludes the deck profile. It's pretty in-depth. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you definitely learned something, and of course, I can always learn from you guys as well. So leave some, you know, anything you need, like feedback, any constructive criticism, anything you feel like, oh, you shouldn't play this. Trust me, I hear you out. Even if I don't agree with you, I'll still take heed and respect your decision, because you are my subscribers, and I have to take the time out of my day to listen to you, just like you do, you know. You do me the respect of hearing me out as well. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and sign out and continue uploading like a madman. Peace out.